there's this line of fat that shows you where the thigh bone is. So come join everyone.
Yeah, I think we're still missing a
All right,
few.
missing a couple. So come join, come join. Can you see?
Yeah.
All right. So there's a line of fat that shows you where the thigh bone is here. And then there's sort of a T off of it that shows you the separation between the muscles of the drumstick and the muscles of the thigh. What I want you to do is cut just to the drumstick side of that line of fat, right? Parallel with it, and cut right to the drumstick side, right? You see my line? Right there, just to the drumstick side of this line of fat that separates the muscles from the thigh and the muscles of the drumstick. And if I do that, a little sawing motion, I'll go right through the center of the cartilage of the joint. And it doesn't take any effort. If you hit bone, go back and sort of reestablish where you are. See the little line that describes the thigh, and the line of fat that separates these muscles from these muscles. Cut just to the drumstick side of those muscles, and you'll go right through the joint without any effort whatsoever. Right? The next thing we're going to do is to separate the skin from the muscle, right? Just with a pushing motion. Right, so grab the skin and scrape the muscle from the surface of the skin like that. Right, so notice how I'm doing each of these activities in sequence. Right, so I'll have a pile of skin, a pile of nice drumsticks, and I'll have skinless, but as yet not boneless thighs. So if you look at them, you sort of know anything about the anatomy. This is a knee joint, and there's going to be a kneecap right there. That's what that little piece of fat is. So I need to make sure that I take out both the thigh bone and the kneecap. The easiest way to do it is to cut down on either side or the other of the thigh and just sort of scrape the meat from the thigh bone. So I'm just cutting basically down on either side, making sure there's not much meat left. And then with a little bit of a sawing, sort of pushing, rolling motion, I can get the thigh off of the top and maybe change direction and it comes right off. All right. The last thing I'm going to do, separate this, it's easier to see, is get the kneecap. It's right here. Right, so the kneecap. I want to cut in sort of a V shape on either side of it to get out the little hard bony kneecap. This has a little bit of some cartilage from the hip socket. I want to make sure I take that out too. All right, so now I've got boneless and skinless thigh meat. If there's a heavy coating of fat, you might want to trim some of that up, but otherwise, just sort of scraping it off. All right, so boneless, skinless thigh. They're going to be right and left, sort of mirror images. Right? Because there's a right and a left thigh. Don't worry about it too much. Just flip it, rotate it, do whatever you want. Another bit of cartilage from the... So just sort of carve down on either side of the thigh bone. And then with sort of a rolling motion, you can then expose the underside of it and keep sort of pushing and scraping it off. Right? So I'm basically trying to roll it so that I can get to the underside of it. And then it comes off. And there's the kneecap, right there. Make sure there's no bone or cartilage still up here where the pelvis was, and no excess fat. Fat there, bones there, thighs there. And the whole idea is that I got nice clean bones without a whole lot of meat. Rotate it. So I'm not cutting down to the table, I'm just sort of sawing and pushing that way, like a squeegee would push the bone off the surface. And there's the kneecap. And ultimately, the result that we want is one piece of meat that's not separated into two. So you'll end up with 6 thighs, boneless and skinless, 6 drumsticks, bones for the stock pot, and this stuff for the